still think it though.
That's one of my best friends. We've been friends for we told y'all since the
my mama and her mama got pregnant at the same time. That's my little brother and Sheldon, her little brother.
at the same time.
Same time. Yeah.
So Jeremy's born in August and Sheldon's born in
August what?
November.
14.
My birthday's the 13th. You better
What?
get out of here right now. Okay, Leo.
You went to the club too?
Yeah, me too.
Who else?
We all do.
I
This is our house.
rap
So
lord.
I'm you
I'm
in
in
a
the wrong place.
Hey, I'm not a rat leader, so don't feel bad. I'm with you, bro.
We representing it here today. Well, you know, Biker had a good day yesterday. Biker had an awesome day yesterday.
What happened?
LaFleur had a good day and Biker had a y'all had
Oh.
alumni being inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame.
Oh.
Brazil.
Hey.
So, look, you see how he was excited. We was all excited. We on Drake videos. We all excited. He was like,
It is the floor. We arguing all over.
We got Rattler pride till we die.
So we
I
died.
saw a man in the managed market, not even managed anymore. Whatever name it was. Pick the week. Class of 19, or no, Tomaville, class of 72.
Oh, they be representing so hard. I'm like, thank you, sir.
I ain't heard
They
that
raise
before.
money, like they are one of the biggest contributors to
Yeah.
our alumni weekend. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. All right, we ready to get started.
Yes, ma'am. Wait on you.
All right, this is oh shit. Hold on. All right, what's up? This your girl Kay Wilk,
I'm sir.
and we are 2020 Podcast. And today we have special guests on our show, and we're gonna allow them to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about them.
I'm Shantae, and my mom, and a radio personality.
All right. You ain't even gotta do all that.
First time. I'm AC. I'm Sir Brother. Friends with Tonda.
I'm Kay Wilk on the show.
It's all right.
I'm Bree, and I am a friend of all.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm Ace. I'm a friend of K. Will.
He's also with Checkmate Promotions.
Hey, checkmate in the building.
Checkmate in
Shout
the
out to
building.
Checkmate.
What you go about?
Ace.
Get on.
Not AC. Ace.
AC.
All right. Before we get started, I just want to say Mobile had a great day yesterday. We had Viger alumni inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, and we also had Drake representing my high school, my alma mater, John L. LaFleur High School.
Mighty Rattlers!
So Mobile had a great day yesterday. How did Theodore do yesterday? Y'all doing all right?
You doing that? All right. My Bobcats are currently preparing for another successful football season. When was the last time you heard about LaFleur football season? Oh, that's right. Y'all lose to
We
us all
never
the
had a
time.
football team. You'll never.
Y'all lose to us all the
We'll
time.
see you in basketball.
Never can they brag about
All
our
4 years
football.
I went to Theodore, y'all lost to us.
Well, hey, all 4 years I went to high school, we lost. So
wow.
you'll never
But
get
what about
basketball?
basketball?
But we got the best school spirit.
We got the best
Yeah, y'all got the
band
best
and the best basketball team.
I hadn't heard anybody trying to come to Theodore's alumni ever.
Do they have
Do they have?
Really? Y'all doing that.
I didn't.
Also,
Y'all have a parade?
All right, I'm gonna make sure I tag every person I graduated with. Every single one.
Shout out to the Bobcats though, whatever that is.
They in Theodore somewhere. Yeah.
Their band still got the bells.
For real.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
gonna
I'm
shout
glad
out
everybody
to
got
Bob.
jokes
Glad
today.
my
I'm
phone going
glad
across.
everybody got jokes. Let's talk about them GPAs though, and them graduating rates.
Proud graduate of the
Pin drop.
comprehensive side.
Okay.
I went to Magna and Comprehensive, so I mean,
I didn't know what was what. I came from Mississippi.
Oh, you just shocked.
I was shocked to see us. I'm like, wow. BET is not lying. This is really right here. Like, this is a real thing happening.
You just shocked to see more than one high school per city.
I was just shocked to be. I was shocked that McDonald's at that time was right across the street from me because I lived on Clinton. I was like, what? The McDonald's down the street?
I can walk across the
Like,
street.
what? This is happening?
See, you missed
Yeah.
it. It used to be Popeyes.
Yeah,
but no,
this-
if that's what it was, it's Popeyes. McDonald's was
Yeah.
down on Wilson.
Okay.
Either
I
way, I
can't
can still
tell
walk.
You can
how
still
many
walk.
sausage biscuits I've had from Popeyes right
Oh
there
man!
every morning. I didn't even know they served chicken for the longest. I'm
Wow.
so serious. I'm so serious. We used to get a sausage biscuit that like
What on
every
Popeyes serve chicken,
morning.
though?
They
Go
not-
in the
on
morning.
that phone? Yeah, they sold sausage biscuits.
They used to sell ham biscuits that was
You know
so
where that
good.
little Catholic school is? Nah, right across the street. They used to sell. We used to go through the drive-through every morning. Before I used to go to Farmville. Shout out to Farmville.
Baby Rowler, so you
Baby
got a little
Rowler.
Rowler in your blood.
Oh.
You got a little Rowler in your
Oh,
blood.
Bessie C. But yeah, they every morning. That's what I had for breakfast. Yep. Didn't even know they sold chicken till like middle school.
Yeah,
That's a shame.
Stop in the
That's a
morning.
shame.
That's what's up. Well, we're gonna kick off the show with a couple of questions. One of the questions we're gonna start with is we were talking about relationships, just relationships in general, and how people how you develop relationships and how relationships begin and how you begin to look at relationships. And I kind of gave my little insight, but before I give my insight, I want each one of y'all to talk about how do you think that relationships start? Where did it come from?
I'm gonna say, yeah, it's all about that initial spark. Like as soon as you speak to someone, like how quick can you get there? It's about 30 seconds you got when you speak to somebody before you can.
I guess my question should have been how early on do you develop relationships?
Oh, the serious part of it.
Yeah, like before you begin your relationships, before you begin dating,
Oh,
the outlook on relationships should begin from a kid. It
Oh,
starts
okay.
in your household. It starts from what you saw growing up. So what defined relationships for you?
K-Whoop, I disagree. I think growing up, we look at what attract our eye. Something shiny, it sparkle. Something catch our attention first. Something have to catch your attention about that individual. How could the female can have heels on that know how to walk in them? She can have pretty legs. Like for me, my first babysitter was a majorette for LaFleur High School. And my grandmother always wore heels. So for me to see my babysitter practicing with the white boots with the pom-pom on, and my grandmother wearing heels, to me that defined a woman, and I was attracted to that because I
That's
have
what you
love
saw.
from my babysitter, and my grandmother was this phenomenal woman who walked around in heels. And so, hey, if the female didn't have these pretty legs and knew how to walk in heels or boots, she can't get my time of day.
That's what you saw growing up. That's because that's what you
Yeah,
saw growing up.
that's
So that's what
early.
defined it for you. What about you?
Defined it for absolutely my father and my brother, and just seeing how they interact. Because I was the baby girl. Well, I'm the baby girl, and just seeing how they protected me.
you a
at the
daddy's
same,
girl.
yeah, absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I'm a preacher's daughter.
Oh
He
yeah.
can't-
And you know the
Oh,
connotation, and the connotation that comes with that, but that was not me because I was very much a tomboy,
Mhm.
but yet protected like that little prissy girl, but I was not that. But I guess for me, seeing that protection and yet seeing that embracing of, trying to say if you want to go and try and shoot the gun, or you want to try and wrestle, you do that. You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
behind that. And so when speaking with men or growing up, and it was always that, I always took to guys that kind of was like, well, shoot, let's go do this. It wasn't anything necessarily that they were, to me, I didn't think initially they were attracted to me about physically, but the fact that we could go play basketball or we could go do something, and it was like, okay, wait.
Yeah.
I might like you, but I'm not gonna say it,
That's cool.
Yeah.
What about you,
I
Bree?
think that's good. I mean, everybody pretty much saying like whoever raised them. I think for me, it's the same thing. My parents. I saw my father was like treating my mother like he go to work, take care of all of his, and how he loved his girls. He has all girls. So.
Oh wow. He always say his gun loaded.
Yeah.
All girls.
That made for it.
All girls. Imagine. What about you, Ace?
Well, for me,
Mhm.
pretty much my mama. She did everything: cook, clean, yard work, plant flowers, go fishing. Don't mind getting her hand dirty. She was a woman, but she did.
She did everything.
She wasn't girly. She wasn't like
Prissy,
I'm scared of bugs and
Right.
gnats. The sun is hot. I don't
Yeah.
want to sweat. She wasn't that type of woman. So I think then she was very determined. I mean, workaholic. Cause I mean, I grew up in a single family home. Probably pretty much the majority of my childhood, except maybe 5 years. So she was everything to me for as what I think a woman should be. Cause
So-
that, I mean, that was
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's all I seen was what she did.
Right.
And now it's like I like them, the appearance of like girly girls or women or whatnot, but I would rather settle down with somebody who don't mind getting in the yard and want to plant flowers and want to go fishing and don't mind the gnats, don't mind the bugs, don't mind sweat. That's what type of woman I really like at the end of the day. But for as appearance wise, all women, I think, I mean, it don't matter if they don't mind the sun or whatever. I like. I mean, you can't deny beauty. If they beautiful, then they beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. You had a question, Pam?
You just answered it.
Oh.
I was gonna ask, like, do you see that in? I mean, do you kind of like define your mate as that person, like your mom, how she was?
Yeah, because I'm an outdoors person. I mean, anything outside, I enjoy. If it's just sitting on the porch, I enjoy that. Just being outside, period. But I mean, that's always been like that from
Yeah.
a little boy. But
That's cool. What about you?
Well, for me, it's a little different. Like, I was around my aunt a lot, like in particular my aunt Carolyn, and she was like the epitome of like a gentlewoman and an intellectual, and like she would sit down and talk to me and explain me why certain things the way they are. Like it's nothing more attractive than getting knowledge from someone who can really break it down to you so that you understand. Like she bought me my first book. And I still remember that book, I Can Dress Myself. It was about, we had Grover on the cover from Sesame Street. Swear to God, I still remember that.
Everybody had that
I
book.
still remember that
I
book.
know I had it.
And it was just, she would randomly approach me with the most random things that affect me to this day. Like she'd approach me, she'd be like, where your name came from? And I'd be like, I don't know. She'd like, why don't you know? I don't know why should I know. Should I know? She's like, yes, you should know. She was like, she would stop me and have me repeat words. And that's why I talk the way I do now, because she was like, nobody should ever know where you're from by the way you talk. And it always comes up in conversation. She was like, people will stop me and be like, where you from? And it clicks. It's just, people can overhear me talk. And they'll be like, you're not from here. Yeah, I am from here. And it sparks conversation every time. So
Right.
it's little life lessons that she taught me in like the most minute ways possible, and that's why like I feel that conversation is key. Like if you can grab my interest, if you can hold that intellectual conversation, you got me
Yeah.
every time.
Absolutely.
And that's funny how you brought that up about Aunt Carolyn, because one of my fondest memories about my aunt, and it's going back to what I'm attractive to. She used to always tell us when you're talking to someone or just doing a presentation, stop saying
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad. Had that on.
That's where I get it from, son. That's exactly where I get it from.
And
I have a bad
when you brought that up about Aunt Carolyn, I tried to catch myself if I'm getting ready to pause or use a filler word or find a filler word besides to use, because I mean I really don't know what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm thinking.
I'm thinking. Yeah, and you're supposed to be
Supposed
stand
to have
fast
it
and strong with
ready.
what you're speaking.
Exactly.
That way you captivate a person's attention.
Yeah. That's a bad habit of mine. I use a lot. I do. And it's crazy because I just said it. That's crazy because my grandmother was a school teacher, and I would have gotten into so much trouble for using 8.
She will stop you.
Yeah.
Like
I
mid-sentence.
would have had to start the whole paragraph all over again.
She'll be like, "Excuse me, ma'am.
Start the whole
Excuse me.
presentation all over
Excuse
again.
me." She will like
Yeah.
interrupt you on purpose.
Yeah, they used to make me speak at all kind of engagements all over
Same
the city.
Same thing.
We just had this conversation too because that's one of the things that I hated growing up. I grew up as a girly girl. I had to be tea parties. I knew how to set the table probably when I was 3. I knew how to enunciate and pronunciate my name correctly before I was 2, and my name is very, very hard to say for a lot of people. But I grew up in a household of women, all women. My great grandmother was a single parent. She was married like 3 to 4, maybe 5 times. I don't know. Then my great grandmother was in the house, and it was my grandmother who was married and divorced, who raised her own children. Then it was my mom, who had my brother. At the time, it was me and my older brother, but she also had my younger brother 12 years after I was born. So I grew up in a household full of strong women who felt like we could do everything on our own, who I was taught that we could do everything on our own. My dad wasn't a significant part of my life when growing up. My grandparents on my dad's side used to come get us when we were kids, but I don't remember much about my granddad on my dad's side. So as far as having that male figure in my life to show me how a man is supposed to treat me, I didn't have that because my uncle and my cousin, they were hoes. They dogged women out. They had plenty of women, you know. It was what it was. So I didn't have that, you know, this is what a man is supposed to do. My grandmother taught me that a man is supposed to come to your door and pick you up. You don't answer blows are for hoes. He's supposed to open the door for you. My grandmother taught me all of that, you know, because they were taught that by her. She was taught that by her dad. So I got that part of it. You know, I knew how I wanted to be treated by a man. But as far as a man showing me how a man is supposed to treat a lady, I ain't had it. So I grew up like, okay, well, I'm going to jump from this relationship to this relationship to this relationship to this relationship until I was able to define what it was that I wanted. And that took a minute for me.
Okay, well, but I think we all in this group right here come from strong females. We have a lot of strong female influence for us. Education, getting out there, working, providing for their family. But as one of the gentlemen sitting right here in the group, a female cannot teach a male child how to be a man.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Because like you were
Absolutely not.
speaking
I
about
have
your
a real
uncles and your
son.
stuff, we're brought up where you have to be hard at all times because of the community. You have to be tough. You got to do this. You got to do
And
that.
you can't show emotion.
You cannot show emotions.
Which is hard because it makes you into a man who feels he can't show his emotions when he gets older.
Yep.
And then when it's time for him to communicate with his wife or his girlfriend or his woman, it becomes a problem.
But not only that, in order to communicate with somebody honestly, you have to know yourself. So if you was brought up to put on a face as a little dynamite all the way up, you don't know yourself completely to be honest with that female that you're attracted to all the way.
So you
And
saying
then
self-evaluate.
and then too, once you
Go
meet that
for
one
the first
female and I'm in love, this and this, and you tell her those intimate secrets and she come along and DDT your ass, that's when you become a dog then be like, oh y'all no good. You know? So it's I think
It's a fine line.
it's a very fine line. And I done told you this before, K Whip, and I done told sir. This is my little theory, y'all. It was a good girl who met a dog. That dog dogged that good woman out, and she became a bitch. And when that bitch got away from that dog, when she got away, she started running around. She ran into a good dude, but she was still a bitch at the time. That bitch got with that good dude and dogged him out. He became a dog. And he broke away. So right now it's a bunch of bitches and dogs running around. Until we take time to heal ourselves individually, is that what's gonna be going on?
Absolutely. We say this every show. We talk about self-evaluation. Self-evaluation is very important when it comes to relationships. Me now, I know that I'm ready to be in a relationship. Before I got married, I wasn't ready to be in a relationship. I married this asshole who I knew I shouldn't have married. But after that, I had to take time to face who I was as a person and face every issue in my life up until that point, and then deal with it. Not just face it, but you got to deal with it too. So once you face it and you deal with it, and then you begin the healing process within yourself, then you're ready to be in a relationship. Everybody want to jump in and out of a relationship, but you can't do that, which was one of my problems from my 20s growing up. I mean, from my 20s to my 30s, I jumped in and out of situationships, textationships, sextationships, all types of ships. It wasn't no planes landing nowhere. It was just ships. That's all it was. It was just ships. But go ahead, subject.
I'm not sure how many people in the room been married besides me and you, and we were both divorced now. We wasn't married to each other, but we were both divorced.
I was about to say,
Okay.
mine
You've
was
been married
clear. Mine was clear.
You know how they do
We
the,
weren't married to each other, but
marriage counseling as a couple. Bump the couple therapy. You got to do individual therapy first before you get married or even ask somebody to marry you.
Yeah.
Because we don't know ourselves yet. We don't. I didn't know myself. I ain't gonna say we. Ace did not know himself. And messed up.
And you have to take into consideration as well. The person you know now is not going to be the person. You're not going to be that same person in 5 years now.
Exactly.
But those two people have to agree on it, saying, "Okay, this is who we are now. We're going to, or we're collectively saying that we are going to grow together."
right.
Because the person that is in marriage counseling with me, or the person I'm going to see at the altar, is not going to be that same person. Now we can say I'm your right. Like if something happened to you, I got your back. I'm loyal to you. But that person, that life is going to bring to that person. Are you going to be able to deal with that? And of course, the knocks that you're going to get as a couple, that life is going to bring you.
Right.
That's what has to be. That I think that is because I've been married before. Nothing like that ever came up. Honestly, it was like, are y'all ready for this? Yeah, we're ready. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I wonder if I paid the cable bill in time because I gotta make sure I watch out for it. That's what I'm thinking in marriage counseling. I'm like, because I don't want him to say nothing about the bill. You know, I mean, but that's who we were at that moment.
Or
Right.
let the
You
pastor
know,
do what
now,
you have to do.
You know, 10 months later, I'm like, what the heck, you know, like,
How old were y'all when y'all got married?
I was, how old was I? Damn. Right before Katrina, 2005. Take away the 3. I was 27. Yeah.
Not even 30 yet.
I was not. Matter of fact, maybe 26. I think I was 26.
20.
I know you gotta care. Yeah.
I think I was 28 or 29 at the time.
Was I 30?
That is bad that we do not know
Well,
how
why they
old
got
we
their
were.
calculators?
We just know we got married.
The sad part about my whole thing was the whole marriage thing for me was when I walked out of the courthouse, I was asking myself like, what the hell did I just do? So I knew I had jumped and did something wrong. I knew it wasn't what I needed to do.
And my thing was, I was like, after even, I almost walked out of the ceremony.
I was 27.
After everything was done, it was like, you know, you dealing with issues and that wall that you put up is falling down. Why are you going to mess up this female life?
I knew I had messed up, but we had
Yeah.
already paid the
And I-
caterer.
And I had to build another wall to keep that going on, that
Wow.
everything's
So
all right.
you had that facade.
I got him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did y'all when the person proposed, when you proposed, was it just like a feeling you had at the time, or it's something that was thought out for
no.
some months, a year or so?
Damn, what was my proposal?
Now, I can answer that. I was in
But
love.
sometimes people just say, "Yeah, I want to get married." It just be momentarily
No
because
feeling.
the relationship is like at its peak.
Yeah.
And then months later, the arrangement been made, stuff like that, and it's like now it's coming down. You
I
know?
ain't have the most romantic proposal, and I had this ugly ass ring. So I really don't like. I'm serious. I really felt like it wasn't genuine. I don't think anything about it was genuine. I think mine was more so family pressures because everybody around me was getting married, and everybody was asking us. Like all my cousins, they had all got married, and they was like, "Well, when y'all gonna get married? What's next? What's next?" And next thing I know, he's popping the question, and I'm like, "Wait, what?" Then next thing I know, I done said yes.
Yeah.
And then we really wasn't supposed to get married till a year later, but I started getting frustrated with the plans of the wedding and all of that stuff, which I should have took that as a sign, but I didn't. And we said, okay, well, we just gonna go to the courthouse. And my aunt was with me, and she was walking on the side of me at the courthouse, and him and his little friend was walking, and I was just like, what the hell did I just do? Like, I literally felt like running back in there telling that judge, look, give me my shit back. You know, give me my money back. Give me, you know, this is not it. I knew that wasn't it. So I knew it wasn't really going anywhere from that point. Like, he just wasn't supposed to be. So,
Yeah.
I knew
yeah.
In the same
she was the one. I would say on this podcast, I'm the one messed up. Because I knew that she was the one from the first time I met her. It was like a movie, you know, working at the place I was working at the time.
Nah.
At the hospital, in the emergency room.
Nah.
And I'll never forget, it was busy.
Mm-hmm.
But when I locked eyes on her, I had saw her previous like 2 weeks, and I was like, who is that girl? I like her. Something about it. It was just something about her. And it went to heels. It was just something about her just attracted me to her. And then 2 weeks passed by, I see her again. I was like, make your move now. The day is the day. Can't let it slide. And I remember looking at her, and we're in the ER, it's busy. It was nobody in there in my mind but me and her.
Wow.
Yeah.
You determined.
And I wanted her. And I wanted her to be my girl.
Wow.
And she's get mad when I say my girl, even after we got married, because it was like, no, you my girl. You know what I'm saying? Because I think, well, I know marriage was something I saw people married before and they did their dirt. So to me, using that term was defying or shitting on marriage. So it was like this is my girl. You know what I'm saying? This is my puppy. This is my dog. These my shoes. This and it was like
So
she
it
was.
You were owning it, taking
It was my.
ownership.
It was yeah. She was mine. You know.
Interesting.
Mm.
So, I mean, if everybody in here is 30, right? Over 30.
No. Babies in the midst.
Almost. Okay, but you know, and once you hit that 30 mark, it's like, well, now I'm supposed to be married. Did you get that feeling, or as you approach that 30 mark, did anybody get that feeling? That
Sir does not agree with that statement.
It's earlier for women. I think it's earlier for women.
Yeah, we get
kinda-
that early.
We get that like
25
in college.
Yeah,
You know,
I think I hit that mark
Well,
in my 20s.
I'll preface my statement. I'll say I didn't feel that way because my two best friends I went to college with, they both got married. Like Wyatt got married, he was 27. Mike got married, he was 23 or 24.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the transition. I saw the whole spectrum happen within the span of like 5 years. I saw the new car smell. You know, hey, got this girl. You know, I really like her. She cool. Till she at the barbecue. Now she one of the boys. You know, and then it goes from okay, y'all good, and then y'all hitting snags. You know, y'all getting married. Why y'all getting married so soon? Just support me. You know, those were the responses I was getting. Now, as a man, we're supposed to reach out and let our boy know, like, hey, slow down. You know, this if we know that, if I know my boy, like my best friend Wyatt, I told him, I was like, look, you really should take a moment, and blow up happened. And now I'm sitting here looking at my friend, not knowing if he's gonna have to deal with the divorce or not, with the arrangements, and I'm seeing my friend lose weight and being on the outside now, looking at marriage and seeing this. And I'm like, hell no, I don't want that. Nope.
So
Keep that away from me.
it gives you a different outlook on marriage by looking at someone
Absolutely.
else's?
Listen, people think marriage got glitter and gold on it. I see rust, nails, tetanus,
Because marriage
poison.
is work. People get married for the wrong reasons. And marriage is what you put into it. It's work. It never stops. You have to continue to work at it as you continue to work at anything else. I remember when I was pregnant with my son, one of the first questions somebody asked me was, what was I gonna was I gonna marry my baby dad? And I'm like, no. Because at that time I was 21. I was like, no, I'm not gonna get married. you know, we're not gonna get married. We're not ready to get married. Just because I'm pregnant don't mean I'm gonna get married, you know. But if you don't take the time to put in the work to make it work, and it can't be one-sided. One person can't be doing all the work. You know, it has to be a collective effort for them to do it.
I feel like way before you even get married, you ought to know if it's gonna work or not.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like to me, just the way I think, if I'm with somebody for let's say 4 or 5 years, and we having problems already, then if we go ahead and get married, still gonna have problems.
Mm-hmm.
But
I just have to slightly disagree with that phrasing. Like you ought to know, because I know as a single mother myself, and especially with you making the thing about the children and how that dynamic can change. And I know I hear a lot. Soon as my son's father decided that he wasn't going to do what he was supposed to do, then the blame became on me. Well, you should have knew how he was going to be. How am I supposed to know that this person in front of me, who was loving to me, who was great to me,
showed me something different
once a child came into the picture?
X factor.
How are we supposed to ought to know that? No, we don't. Now, as far as the phrase continues. Now, what we do ought to know about two people is like, okay, are we going to make the effort to work through whatever? Because we don't know how that person is going to end up.
Yeah.
But we should absolutely say, okay, whatever ends up on the other end, I'm going to be there. I don't know what I'm going to be, and I don't know what you're going to be. But I know that whatever it is, we are going to work through it.
Right.
But that whole phrase, like you are, like I couldn't tell you what I might wear. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how
It's
should
like a
I
mystery
like
box.
how and that becomes a real, especially with single motherhood, and I hear that a lot, and I've heard that a lot. You know, even raising my children, like you should have knew who he was. You should have knew who he was up in your legs. And I'm like, how am I supposed to know this dude was gonna do it? If I would have known that, I would not have done it. You know what I'm saying? It would have been that nickel in between my knees, like it was not.
Or if I had known he was sorry as hell.
Right. Because I mean, when we was making the baby, he wasn't sorry. He was doing everything. You know, it was great.
Everything was lovely.
Everything was
cream,
lovely.
butterflies and flowers.
But you know, that's what happened with Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh yeah.
When she adopted that baby, he was like, the what? Y'all, I'm gonna be over here with Hadley making monsters ball. You go ahead and take the baby. I ain't with the baby. You know what I mean? But would she have known that when they got it?
No.
I'm pretty sure she may have said something because she adopted, you know. But
and there are sometimes signs that we do ignore. Now, in saying that, there are signs that we do.
I want to jump with you.
I just had a question.
Go ahead.
Do y'all agree that you don't know a person till you live with them?
I don't think you get the full effect until you live with them. And I say that because people will show you that in their household they'll show you one thing, and outside their household they'll show you one thing, and then when you move into the house you can see something totally different. Like, I'm not waking up to you every morning or next to you every morning, so I don't know what your morning routine is.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think you ought to live with a person? I asked that to ask that. Do you think you should live with a person for X amount of time before you do marry him?
I'm conflicted on that question.
Now they say that I done heard my grandma don't shack and this shack up and this and that, but those times are different from what's going on nowadays because
Absolutely.
the mindsets of people
It's different.
the society is different
That's true.
and all of that. But I feel like if I'm gonna marry you, we need to be living together
I need to know what your ins and outs are.
at least 1 year.
I'm not even upset at that, honestly, because I had said for myself, and I'll let you jump in after this. I had said if we get engaged, I feel like that is at least enough for us to start converging at some point. Because, like you said, because I dated somebody, and I lived with my girl at one point in college for 3 years straight, and it went to hell when we started moving together. Like, started seeing stuff I shouldn't have seen. Like, and we probably would have been. But I'm glad that we did for the experience part. But I agree with you 100%. I think before you get to that point, just to really know the full in and out of a person, you need to live with them at some point.
Just lease the marriage certificate. Then when y'all decide, then you want to get married, then buy it.
It needs to be.
You leasing a marriage certificate, but then when y'all decide, then you buy it.
It needs to be. Both parties have to put a time frame on living with each other, because in the first 30 days, you see what you want to see anyway, because you're so infatuated with the person. 31st day, you start seeing something different. But once you live with a person, you really see things that she may squeeze the toothpaste from the middle, they may piss me off. You're like, no, I need you real from the bottom.
Real talk.
You know what I'm saying? It's that
Real
small stuff.
talk.
And then too, technically I was married for 10 years, we was together for 7. You know, the last 3 is still on paper, not in the same house. And it was small stuff that she may have done that was getting on my nerve, but I loved her so much, or was tolerating the situation that I wouldn't say nothing. And I did things that she was so in love with me, or tolerating the situation that I was doing, that she wouldn't say anything. I think if both parties have to communicate, you know, I need you to dry your feet off before you get out the tub.
You definitely have to communicate, because you
have
don't want
to.
that stuff by not saying anything, it begins to fester,
Because-
right? And you don't want that to fester.
I never forget this right here. And since you said that, when I was married, it was an argument, but it was a discussion, because we didn't want the girls to ever see us fuss, because we didn't want having daughters in the house. I didn't want, as a man, to think my daughters had to be with a man who hooped and hollered. No. You know, you go to your grandparents' house and then your mom can come back and talk. You know what I'm saying? She said one time, I get sick and tired of you when I ask you what you want for dinner and you say whatever. My mind as a man, guess what I heard? What you want for dinner? This is my processing. Dog, I'm working 3 to 4 days a week, 12 hours. You working 5, 8, and every day you still come home and say what I want to eat. I'm not finna bother you and say, hey, I want fried chicken, I want baked fish. Whatever you cook, I am so happy that you even said that and then say pick up nothing. Her mind was like,
You
You're
don't care.
dismissing her.
I don't care. Whatever you cook, I'm gonna eat. I may not eat.
Context. Yep.
It was just the context of it. Yeah, you know. So I tell anybody, in a relationship, communicate. What you don't like, let that person know up front, so we, not that person, we can work on this.
Right.
Because as long as you keep that little small stuff up, each pebble a problem, small. But they start adding up, then one day out the blue, you may brush your teeth and leave the water on. I got fussed at about this. I left the water on because I was used to Mobile. Mississippi water bills are high, y'all. I left the water on. Brushing my teeth, you know, in Mobile, $8, $12. You know, as a man, a kid growing up, you get your first job, you get the water bill with it. You can brush your teeth, have the water running. I was over there brushing my teeth, water running. She came in there hooping the house. I'm like, what's wrong with you? And there was another thing. I paid bills. But my mind, I never saw the bills. I gave money. I couldn't tell you that bill was $60. I just know I gave a lump sum of money and the bills were paid. In my mind, I paid. First 2 years in Mississippi, I couldn't say what Mississippi Power was at, the cable company, the water company. I didn't know where anything was. But I knew if you asked who paid the bills of the house, guess what I was
We're
going to
gonna
say.
come back to that. We got that. We got a topic to go with that. So I want you to hold on to that for me. I want you to come back. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no,
I just didn't want you to go too far, but
You said we
because
got
there's
delete.
another topic that kind of ties into that.
You got to delete on there.
So my bad.
We'll delete everything though.
No, we don't. Most of the stuff
I
still
can't
gonna
interfere
go.
with my book I'm writing. That's my therapy session. Look, 3 pages, so that's probably 2 paragraphs.
You kind of touched on money as far as relationships, and we were talking about in the household.
They smoking
Who
upstairs.
do you think should who do you think should work?
Smell.
If
You
should
gonna smell
the
it,
woman
something.
work all the time? If the woman makes the most amount of money, should the man stay at home and not work? Or if the man makes the most amount of money, should the woman stay at home and not work? How do you think it should? How do you think that should be now?
That's on them two. they make that decision of how they
That's
want to
it.
spend it. But in my mind, at that time, my wife was making more per dollar amount than I was. My mind, if I beat it by 1 penny, if she made 1,000, I made 1,001 cents. I did good. You know what I'm saying? But I had to bring something to the table.
Mhm.
Like when I got married, my wife had just got a house. I was looking for a house in Mobile. That was one of the hardest things to do when we got engaged, to move in. And she used to always say, our house, our house, our house. My mind, guess what I heard? And in any time you can say, get out my house. Guess I also heard her mother saying, he moved in on you. Her auntie saying, he moved in. That's all that's in my head that I'm hearing. Because I was brought up by those strong females say, boy, you better have your own stuff. A woman can make you get out anytime. But it taught me how to cook, clean, wash clothes, sew. But I'm being vulnerable by coming to yours and, hey, I got to work overtime. I got to do this. You want new furniture. Baby, make some tuna fish and have all my work clothes clean. I'm finna go get it. Because even though my wife at the time was saying, ours, my mind was saying, yours. You know, you got that one leg, that one advantage over me. It's not 50-50, it's 49-51. And that's bruising my ego.
Let me ask you something.
That's interesting you said
Because
that.
coming from the same household as you, obviously. And I'm asking you this legitimately, not even for the podcast. Do you think because we was talking before about self-evaluating and seeing therapy for yourself. Like checking your ego at the door, I understand now is something you gotta do before you get married. Do you think had we gone to therapy prior and knew yourself better, do you think you would have gotten over that aspect easier?
Oh, yes, yeah. Because one
Because do you
thing,
think that's like, I feel like that's a bit of, you know how you say we brought up to put on you said when you were a kid, we put on the little mask as a little boy, as far as emotions go. And I feel like that masculinity and ego kind of blends in together with each other. Do you think do you think if that was addressed, you would have felt more comfortable about the situation?
yes. Because one thing I will say about myself, and it's the way that we was brought up. Like you said, we was in the same house, and we come from a long, strong family of strong women and men. One thing I was always told, and it's instilled in me: a closed hand can't get fed or give or receive anything. Like, put it out there. I do therapy sessions. I'm in therapy. I like information to help me because I knew as a kid and on up that it was something wrong, but it didn't have a title on it or a name, or I couldn't describe the feeling, or I wasn't allowed to say how I was feeling because I'm a black male. I wasn't allowed to say this. I had to hold all that in. I feel like if I would have had therapy before, yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I know how far therapy have helped me. And with the therapy and me being open and honest about therapy session, antidepressant medication, working out, praying and stuff like this, I found out also who was behind me for real. The ones that say, hey, I suffer from depression. I know how you feel. You want to go walk? I was just calling. I was just pat you on the back. Don't say nothing. I know I've been there. I'm proud of you. And because we came from a family who's taught us how to speak up when we are anywhere, you're supposed to speak up. I always had that, but it was a wall around it. Sometimes I can step outside that wall, then I go back. You know, that was just a mask I was putting on. Now with what I'm going through now, it's like I still care, and it affects me some how people portray or what they see or say about me to a certain degree, but not as much as it did back then.
Gotcha.
You know, it's like, I don't care what you say. I may get sad and down about it, but guess what? When somebody called me, like if you call me, what you doing? Walking? Why you walking? You know me. That means somebody said or done something. Instead of me isolating, letting the devil or bad thoughts control me, I'm gonna get out and be productive.
Mm-hmm.
If that's just walking the neighborhood speaking to everybody, I'm
You have
doing
to
that.
find a coping skill. Anytime things like that are going on, you have to find a coping skill that helps you to deal with whatever the situation is, whatever life throws at you. Depression is rampant amongst, especially in our community, and a lot of times what happens in our community is we're taught not to tell anybody what's going on with us. Keep what's in our household in our household.
pray.
You pray, but you have to talk to somebody. I'm a psych major. My major was psychology, and my focus was marriage and family counseling. And one of the things that I learned when taking those courses is you have to have an outlet. You could pray all day long, and I strongly suggest that everybody pray. But you have to have somebody that you can talk to, whether it's a therapist, your pastor, your family, whoever it is. And a lot of times it's not going to be your family, and it's not going to be your friends. I recommend therapy to anybody
And this
who need it. I recommend it to
Okay, but
anybody.
one thing I will say about therapy, and we all feel like we got that best friend, that best bud, that best auntie, uncle who we can talk to. Some people say nothing leave the room, and as soon as you walk off is out the room.
A lot of times it does.
One thing about therapy, I know for a fact, these
Yeah,
are licensed people. Listen, they're licensed. They make their money because they went to school and got this license. They put your information out there, they lose their livelihood. That's one thing I like about it.
I
It's
never
a
thought
HIPAA
about
law.
it like that.
And they
You
direct.
cannot violate HIPAA.
They cannot violate HIPAA. It's $5,000 to like $50,000 fine they can receive. So that's one thing I like about it. And then they've also found a way. Find a way. They call you out on your bullshit, and I like that. I'd rather for you to say
Because
I'm
you
an
have to own
ex-addict.
your shit.
I'm an ex-addict.
You gotta own your
Then
shit.
I'm a preacher who never did nothing wrong. I came out, found me a woman, got married, had kids, did this and this. I'd rather for you to say I was a hellion, I ran the streets, I got coochie, I did drugs, and God changed me, and it wasn't easy, and He's still working on me. I deal with
Give me
people
your
better.
real story.
I deal with
Right.
people better than like that. Then I'm just perfect. I don't deal well with that.
And that all goes again. I mean, that all ties into the relationship topic. Now we kind of jumped topics just
Yeah,
then because
sorry.
we were talking about the whole
No,
money
you good.
issue and how it affects the household. Do you think, Shantae, that a man can stay at home while the woman works, or a woman can stay at home while a man works? Whoever makes the most money stays home. Goes out and work and bring the bread home. Do you think?
You think that one party could basically?
Do you think so? Yeah.
I think it's possible. It just depends on how much they're making. I think in our society we are so caught up on roles that is what dampens it. I think if
I literally typed that.
I think if I made the most money, it wouldn't be an issue for me. You know. Now, would it be an issue for my mom? Would it be an issue for my brothers? Would it be an issue for my dad? Yeah, they're like, oh no, he's supposed to go. You know, but that is our society, and especially when it comes to our community. You know, and that's just what it is. I think, is it possible? Absolutely.
I think it's more than society too. I think it goes back to biblical principles.
Right, it
Yeah.
definitely does.
It goes to
It
biblical
definitely does, because of course, you know, with Adam and Eve, and you know, just when you see women in the Bible and men in the Bible, the woman was, you know, that's who's supposed to be at home.
The man was created to lead.
Right. I mean, created to lead and protect and provide for said home.
Right.
Now, you know, what's your definition of protection and providing mentally? But see, they never go there. You know, you never hear
I'm
about
glad
that
you said
part.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you protect me, especially with our young sons, especially black sons? And stuff. Sure, you're providing. Sure, dad's bringing in the bread, and he's providing for the home. But what is he providing for you here? Especially if that may be an abusive dad.
Yeah, because
You know,
providing means
providing
money.
means more than
It's
money.
more than
But when
money.
you think about it in biblical terms, what is he doing for his family? And family is defined as what he brings to it. But a father or male person can bring more than just, good or bad.
Yeah.
So if it's more significant that he stays, stays home, or if it's more significant that the woman stays home, then so be it. But like I said, it does all of that engulfs in what, from biblical terms, just historically what a man is supposed to do. And it's never been highlighted that what a man can provide for his family mentally and emotionally, because generally when we think of men, we think logic. That's the thinker. He's a provider. He's a protector. We think strength. We don't think emotional. We think that's the woman's point. You know.
Right.
But in these days, I think it's very imperative that that our men start showing that, and at least in giving that example to our younger generation, because they don't see it. I mean, what they may see it, but it's not highlighted. That's not what when you see men in household, you don't think, hey, come give me a hug. That's not what you see. That's not what's going to be in the dictionary.
Right.
I'm gonna say this from a guy's standpoint, it's a mixed situation as far as emotions go, because on one end, you see emotions are celebrated on things like Valentine's Day. Everybody be like, oh, I want my man to do X, Y, Z, whoop-de-whoop, and all this. But when it comes to the flip side of emotions, that's when the ugly starts to come out. When it's not love, when it's your man might be agitated about something. Oh, you acting like a what? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the worst possible thing. It's two things you could call a man that's gonna make him fight: a bitch or a fuck nigga.
Oh yeah.
I feel like those two are fighting words,
Yeah.
regardless of the situation. So it's like you either want an emotional man or you don't. You can't pick when, because the one, and then we talked about this before. We're not taught how to deal with emotions. Let's be real. There's nobody set us down to say when you feel like this, you do this. No, we're not taught that.
Because
We're taught that because we're taught to cover the shit up. So this is where I go into another subject a little bit, and that's where you see these men acting a little bit crazy, so to speak, when they're hurt, when they go overboard because they don't know how to cope, and they're just acting outward. We think we are logical thinkers, and so when you bring in something that hurt here, it's like when we stub our toe, we put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
But my heart hurt. What the fuck do I do for a heart?
I can't control this. What is?
Why am I crying?
I'm sitting here having a conversation, and all of a sudden, I'm crying.
Like, what is that exactly?
And it's portrayed to some people as, is he sad? Is he a punk or what? And it's like, no, I'm happy, but I'm crying. But I don't understand why the fuck I'm crying, because I'm happy.
If you in the back of your mind, y'all ain't supposed to cry. Like,
Exactly.
wait a minute, like that ain't like you praying.
And
Like, I'm gonna punch all over the face.
Right.
You know you didn't see
Well, let
me
me get
cry.
somebody. Right.
Because the first time, and I remember this, the first time I ever cried from being happy was at his wedding. And I'll never forget that. Because I was like, I was standing, I'm like, look at my dog, look at my dog, look at my dog. What? What? Like, people tapping on me, sound like, you straight? I'm like, bro, I'm so happy, bro. Like, what's going on?
Their wedding was like that type of wedding. Like y'all had that type of wedding to make you cry. I think people in the audience were even crying. So
But it was just
it was an emotional event. But
it was just different
for
though.
you to cry at the wedding, that is different.
And then too, his speech that he gave as my best man.
Yeah.
I remember when Mom said, no, I'm not taking you to the barbershop, and my brother say, come on, let's go. You remember that? You was in elementary, middle school? Some of the things he brought up there, it was just like,
kindergarten.
wow, you remember that? You know, that what got me. It was like, my little bro. You know? Yeah, it just, you know, and I still get tickled. My youngest child, the first babysitter, it wasn't a grandparent. My brother came home from Huntsville.
Yeah, they called it natural birth control. They let me keep it. Yeah, that's it.
Natural.
They're like, well, we're gonna give out some natural birth control.
Yeah, we gotta
Like, okay, so we going out. Like, dead serious. Dead serious.
Yeah. You go to the house, you got to know what you need. Bye. Please don't call.
That's funny. So what do you think, Bree? Do you think that
Forgot what the question was.
Okay.
do you think that the men should stay at home while the women, if they make the most money, go out and work?
Define like stay at home. Like, does that mean like not
And do
work at
what?
all?
Nothing. They
Take care of the
become the caregiver for the house, I guess.
Household.
House husband. Or do you think the wife should stay at home?
Stay at home totally? No. because I know stay at home is a full-time job in itself. Like take care of the household. But like you not bringing nothing in there. I have a problem with that.
Like, what you at home making candles or something? Selling plates or something? What you think, Ace?
No, I don't think the man or the woman should stay at home.
Okay.
Reason is because the reason I feel like a woman should stay at home because if something happens to me to where I can't work and we have kids and bills or whatnot and she's able to work and if she's not working, then if something happens to me or whatever the case may whatever however it goes, if something the worst happened and she have to go out and get a job, even if it's just a sitting job, she don't know how to get out and go about doing that because it's like I done made it to where I done handicapped her, yeah, right.
You're able
until where she just sitting, she ain't used to working.
Yeah.
I mean, she don't even know where to go to apply for a job. I mean, it's like you kind of like you handicapping, like you say, handicap that person. I have a sister. She's a pastor's wife. My brother-in-law don't want her to work. Period. But she feels different because she told me that anything could happen. If something happened to where they go their separate ways, get a divorce to go their separate ways, she don't want to be solely dependent on his money to do what she needs to do.
Or if something happens to him.
Something
That's what's happened in my family before. Something happened to him where he was unable to work. She had to be able to know how to.
I got some
to
Crystal Light
to
is
do
great.
that.
No, just like great quickly. You want some?
So,
Yeah.
I'll pour you some.
Yeah. I think my whole take on that is I believe 2 incomes are better than 1. I don't think nobody should stay at home and do, one person should go out and work. I believe both parties should go out and work. I especially think that the man should be out and work because the man was created to lead. If we take that from him, then his role as a man kind of diminishes because that's what he's supposed to do.
I don't see that's my I'm trying to see that because to me that doesn't mean that diminishes his leadership to me. Because if he was in the home, he can still very much lead. Just like the woman still very much leads the home, like because
she takes care of the home.
Yeah, because she takes care of the home, and when even when the husband comes in, when my husband came in, he knew. But I mean, not even household roles and all of that, but I still think there's no that's
It shouldn't be a
part
time.
of him, is just working and bringing in. Is not his leadership comes from within and who he and how he leads his family.
And some of them don't know how to do that because they don't have that quality to go out and my ex-husband was that person.
Right,
He didn't have that.
And at the same time, there's the other side is that some men think, oh well, I done brought in the money, I run this, and it's like, hold up. That does not just define your leadership. So when you say something like, well, that takes away from leading his household, it's like, no, it's like that doesn't take away from it. If anything, that enhances it more. That's in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Because a lot of men, that's all they. And like I said, that's society. That's what we think. Well, as long as he bringing in, there's a lot of women think like, well, he bringing in the money, so let him do whatever he gonna do.
More than bringing in the money, but I think he got that working.
But see, like
you stay at home,
especially nowadays,
They don't want to work no way.
yeah, because like the generation we are in, we're now 30s, 40s. If you look at the older generation,
I'm not 40 yet.
it was manual labor where the guys had to go out there and provide, and the woman took care of the house.
Right.
Nowadays, everything is tech savvy.
But nowadays it takes 2 people to run a household.
Okay, it takes 2 people. But if we got this 4-bedroom house, 2-bath garage, this nice house, this and this, I want to make sure I want to provide, protect, and pray for you as my family. You my family. If I fall sick, they say you fired, you laid off. We may have some money put up, but I also need to know And I want you to know that you may say, this man may leave me at any time. I got my own little stash, my bank statement going to my mama house.
Right.
But then you may say, hey, we gonna work this out. Baby, I can handle 3-4
can
months.
pick up and go.
I can pick up for a little
Pick up
while
from
while you
it.
looking for a job.
Yeah.
I'm holding us down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the older generation, they fought to stay together. This new generation that we do, man, okay, you want a divorce? Okay, let's go get one real quick. It's over.
No, they
we
automatically
don't,
goes like,
we don't-
no, we
The
ain't
papers
gonna
already
get
drawn up for you.
Yeah.
Get the words out
it's
your
like
mouth.
we don't fight. We don't got that fight to stay together.
Yeah.
Where your great granddaddy was married and had 2 other kids. Great grandmama knew about those 2 kids, but guess what she said to great granddaddy? You make sure you get them something. School coming up, their birthday coming
Yeah,
up.
hold up
You
short.
you make them know these other 2 so they don't date sister and brother. You know what I'm
Real
saying?
talk.
Was grandmama mad about it?
Hell
Hell yeah. But she
She
maintained.
That-
She kept that house together.
I will.
And made sure, yeah, you finna go out there and work. And while I'm sewing these quilts and doing this, yeah, I'm finna get a little Keisha some Borettes. I'm finna get this and this because she didn't ask for this or he didn't ask for this situation.
Right.
Where we'll give up and say, man,
You didn't have a favor on me.
or
I'm
I'm with you now,
I'm out.
so you can't
Right,
take care of your
right.
kids. You got to
Right.
take care of all my kids now.
Yeah.
You can't, you know what I'm
But
saying?
see,
That's
that
a different time.
Yeah, it
At
was.
the same time, because I can even add to that. I'll tell you this. My grandfather had my grandmother. They were married, and down the street
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
was. I mean, they were all the same age. But I'll tell you this. I will say this. My grandfather provided. He was like one of the top farmers in Activity-Hawk County. He fought in World War II. But at the same time, if you call them half brother, half sister today,
They gonna
that's a
get you.
fight.
Yeah.
Slap
I
it.
mean, they rode the bus together, and I never met my biological grandmother. But the grandmother that I did know was when my biological grandmother passed away. He married her, and that's Grandma Daisy. That's all I know of.
Right.
But they're 2 set. You know, they're 2 sets, and I didn't know until in my 30s. I'm like, wait a minute, y'all the same age. Y'all like Uncle Ron and Don, Uncle Baby and Buddy. Wait a minute, like what? And I was like, oh. Granddad, and what happened? Okay, then.
That's
You know,
funny,
but at that time, you have to. And I saw a tweet about Lil Duval actually did it. He said a single person in their 40s has, you know, a 6-figure salary, and a single mother who has 5 children and, you know, and 3 grandchildren, who's the richest?
Mm.
He had to think about it. Like, okay, the person with the $100,000 salary doesn't even have a legacy to go on. And you're saying something about this single mother who has 5 children, has 3 grandchildren.
Right. She has a legacy.
She has a legacy that can continue. And I'll say that about the household and the children and the roles playing. You have to. But that's what we don't value anymore is a legacy and what we're putting back into our family. Because no matter how much money that we can put into it, like I would say this, my significant other, my brothers, and my father, all of them know how to. They know how to do a garden. They know how to fish. They know how to hunt. They know how to build a house.
Right.
You know what I mean? I couldn't say that. I couldn't say that for So I couldn't say that for my nephew at this point.
Right.
You know, or our we're not teaching lifelong skills. And we can say that this is what we're doing for our children, making sure that they're in private school and they're, you know, making sure they have all the latest clothes. But can they sew?
Right.
If all the, you know what I mean? If the Wi-Fi went out today, are they able to research something without Google?
Right.
You know, so what are we putting? That's what defines
That's true.
that role to me.
That's like the other day
That's
I
true.
posted in this group on Cable Pal. Next time a female approach me, I'm gonna ask her, do you know how to cut up a whole chicken?
Right.
Do you know how to cut up a whole
Right.
chicken?
Chicken in. Exactly.
Especially the younger generation.
gotta cut
don't
a whole
know.
chicken.
They know how to go fast. I need a 3-piece dog. I need a 3-piece dog, please.
Let me tell you, I've been cutting up greens since I was, I can
Okay.
remember.
Do you know how to clean the greens? Do you know how to shell the peas?
Oh
Oh, okay.
Right.
Been doing that for a very long time.
Okay.
But
Like, baby,
to
they had a sale at
piggyback off
Winn-Dixie.
of the family,
Jesus.
I left my son's dad because he did have an outside kid,
Mhm.
which is the reason why my son and his sister are the same age. She's a month older than him, so he had 2 women pregnant at the same time. So I knew I left because of that. Now it wasn't no way I was gonna be able to stay with him. Now we weren't married, but we were on our way there. And I could not. That was
for
like
sure.
that was a
Keep
no
it
for
in
me.
the
I'm
idea.
sorry. I mean, I understand grandmama and them y'all did that back in the day, but I
Right,
can't do
but
that.
then you had to think about it back in the day. Then what, especially as black women, then what would you do?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that,
Yes,
and when
the
people
time.
make that kind of analogy, it's like, come on,
Yeah.
that was 1928, and we're talking about 2018.
2000, right? 2000.
What was, you know what I'm saying? What was the role of a black woman then? She
was your
definitely, she
provider,
definitely didn't
though.
have the opportunities that we had.
You
Right.
was your sole provider though.
Right.
And that would really that
And
helped
she-
you making the decision because you weren't solely dependent on none of his money for real. Some of his money, but none. You was at the house with your mom and your grandmama. You know what I'm saying? So that made
No,
it
when I
simple.
found out about the kid, me and him was living together at the time, but still, I had somewhere else to go.
You had somewhere to go.
So it was just
And
like,
so, and you, when you compare that to
Wow.
a 1928 relationship, she didn't
Yeah,
have
she
nowhere
had
to go.
nowhere to
And
go.
as a matter of fact, if she did try to, they was gonna be like,
They
you better
gonna
go back
send
out with your
her
husband. Baby, we.
yeah, they was gonna send him back.
That's
So
your
times
time
have
to
different.
You're 18, you're gone.
Right.
Back then, ain't nobody had no room because a lot of women were having 7 to 8, 10 kids.
Yeah.
When I
That's
talk
true.
about my
Now,
grandmother, that was
some
13
women
from
barely
her,
want
13 from
two.
the other one.
They want a boy and a girl. I'm getting my tooth
Yeah.
cut.
Or just one, then say, hey,
Just
that's
one.
it.
Right. No, see, then it was like with my grandmother. It was
Nobody had
13.
no room back then.
One had 13. Both had sets of twins. It was 13 from each.
So
Heck
that's
no.
probably one reason people stuck by their husband because they had all
Who
those
gonna
kids.
take care of these kids? That's how they're like.
Now another man ain't gonna want you. You got 8 kids.
My
And he
mama,
got
my
sick.
dad and mama had 13 kids. my mama, she was like, the hell with that shit. She had 5, and her mother only had 2. So
Sir, what?
yeah.
Our great uncle, what?
Oh,
16?
Sambo, he got 22 total.
22, see?
Yeah, his pullout game trash.
But y'all got a basketball team. Gotta look at the bright side.
They world was different from ours too, though.
Yeah.
They did it in a completely different
And
way.
they were able to feed their kids by their gardens. They were able to
Right.
feed, they grew their own food. They,
Exactly.
you know,
It was-
it's totally different now. We got
It-
a store.
we had
Think
a
about
pond.
feeding 13 kids
It
from a
ain't
We
grocery
had a
store.
pond.
I think we really glossing over the fact that it was the time they were in. Like
Yeah.
we talking pre-civil rights, so
Right.
survival was staying
Survival,
together.
yeah.
So it was not a choice. It was go out there and die, get
You no
home.
going to the hospital.
Yeah.
You better go get
nurse
that
your
nigga who
kids
knows
out.
something. Exactly. You better go use this family
But-
remedy.
I hear people that say that now. They rather be in a relationship for stability than love.
Yep.
I'm glad you
Stability
said
brings
that.
love because of how
I have used
every,
that.
it
I
costs
use that.
$4 for cheese.
That's
So
why I don't eat cheese.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's stability, like
Right.
we gonna
Some people
we,
say for insurance purposes.
yeah, we're gonna make this work.
Right,
Listen, we
right.
need each other to
I've heard
survive,
that
and we
too.
can tolerate each other, so we're
Right.
gonna survive it together.
Or you've heard the first time you get married for love. The second time it's for money. Like
First
it's
time I ain't
for
never I was lost on the whole first time.
I mean, let's be real. That's we're
That's-
talking providing,
Right.
and that's a key part
That's
of
part
it.
of
Let's
provision.
just be 100, because this world you gotta have money. Like it's just it.